I got married 4 years ago, and my husband and his family are many times over millionaires. My family is just middle class. Our wedding cost around $700K paid by him and his parents. My parents gave me a flat fee of $10K for a dress, which they are also giving to my sister too. My sister and her fiance are lower class. She has $170K in student loan while he has $110. They have $18K in medical debt and $35K in credit card debt. Well, last night was my sister's birthday dinner, and she announced she was engaged and wanted help paying for her wedding. She gave me a spreadsheet of how much she was going to need for her dream wedding. Anyways, her dream wedding is supposed to cost $100K, and as her only sister, I need to step up and help pay for her wedding since her parents are only giving her $10K for a dress. She said she needs me to give her at least $70K since I'm rich now. When I told her I'm not giving her $70K, she cried and said it wasn't fair how I get whatever I want. When she realized I wasn't going to budge, she broke down about how I'm just using motherhood to be greedy and lazy. I have 2-year-old twins. I eventually told her I wasn't going to be bullied into giving her $70K. She's 15 weeks pregnant, hence why she's in a rush to be married right away. When I tried to leave
Storytime! So this one time I was dating this guy and we had been dating for about 6 months. This one day when we were hanging out, I noticed that he kept checking his phone, but I decided to just brush it off. After that, every single time we would hang out, he would be doing the same thing and kept checking his phone. Eventually I got frustrated, so I decided to confront him about it, but he denied it. I was so angry, so I just got up and left. Later that night, I went to the grocery store and the girl checking my stuff out was really cute. Before I left, she ran out and she gave me her phone number. When I got home, I added her number and we started talking and we really hit it off. We talked every day for like 3 months. Meanwhile, me and my boyfriend kept getting into fights about who he was texting. One day that summer, I went home to my parents' house and I noticed that my dad was acting really strange. He also, like my boyfriend, kept checking his phone and I thought that was weird. So when he wasn't looking, I decided to steal his phone and look through it. What I found was months of him and my boyfriend texting each other. I told my mom and showed her everything and she was furious. We confronted both my dad and my boyfriend together, and after that my mom and dad got a divorce and I broke up with my boyfriend. A couple weeks later I started dating the girl from the grocery store and we've been
Part 3 of how my husband accidentally told me that he was cheating on me. So like I said, I had made reservations for him and I to go out to dinner so that way I could hopefully spark up the conversation about it. So when we finally sat down, I had started up the conversation. I had told him that when I took my ring in to get it fixed, I also got it appraised. And his face immediately changed after that, but he wasn't saying anything. He was like, oh, okay, how did that go? So at this point, I was tired of beating around the bush, and I was like, why wouldn't you just tell me if we were having money troubles? And he was like, what do you mean? We're not having any money troubles. I'm fine. One thing about my husband is that he is very wealthy. And he takes pride in the fact that he is very wealthy. So obviously, me right there kind of questioning his wealth, he fucked up and told me the truth. He was like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I accidentally gave the ring that I was supposed to give you to a girl I was seeing at the time. And I just never got around to replacing yours. So fast forward to present day, I am currently moving all of my stuff out of our house and filing for divorce.
Folks be like, I want to support your business, but your stuff costs too much. If you broke, then just say that. Just say that. It's okay. Just come back when you got it. Because I ain't changing my price.
My sister and I have always been mistaken as twins. I'm 19 and she's 16, but we had the same height, skin tone, and similar voice. She also has a habit of being a copycat, from the way I dress to hobbies, even piercings. I know it's cute if you look at it from the outside, but sometimes it gets annoying. Like, yeah, we are quite close too, but why does she always happen to pick up everything I pick up? One afternoon, I was tidying up some costumes in my college showroom and found a rather cute brown and pink wig. It looks like a mushroom. I put it on, think it looks rather funny, so I snapped a picture and posted it to my Instagram. I received a text from my sister asking if I really cut my hair. I didn't mention it was a wig. While I somewhat have a feeling that she might copy that too, I lied and replied yes. I came home that weekend and lo and behold, my sister emerged with the same silly brown and pink bob cut, except this one is on her permanent hair. She was surprised that I arrived with my hair still long, then realized that I liked her. She was furious that she had to cut that silly hairstyle because
Storytime about the boy who pretended to like me to get closer to my best friend. A little background information. It was the summer before my freshman year of high school, and my best friend and I got bored of hanging out with the same people, so we got a membership to a new pool. And this one was closer to one of our rival schools, so a lot of people that we didn't know went there. Well, the one day while we're there, we meet this group of boys. And by the way, my friend is super pretty. Like, all the guys immediately gravitate towards her, and I'm kind of like the duff, aka designated ugly fat friend. Anyways, While she's over there talking to all the boys, I'm sitting down at one of the tables. And one of the boys from the group comes over to me and starts talking to me. And he was being super sweet. And then he's like, oh, I don't know why all of them are over there talking to her. Like, she's not even that pretty. He was like, to be honest, you're way better looking than her. Now listen, I know I might seem like a bad friend for this, but I never had that male validation before. So that kind of made me feel good. Well, fast forward, his best friend and my best friend start dating, like for part 2.
Story time about how I faked a pregnancy to get my boyfriend to marry me. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. Okay, this is super embarrassing and I did get in trouble for this, so strap in. He's now my ex because of course he dumped my ass. He and I met in college and we were totally in love. Like, we spent every single day together and we moved in together really fast. We even stopped going to parties just to be together. About 3 years into the relationship, I told him that I definitely wanted to get married. He told me that he just wasn't ready. Then everything got really bad. He became really cold towards me. When I confronted him about it, he was honest and he told me that he just didn't love me anymore. Then he moved out and literally cut me out of his life. Even his parents told me to leave him alone. So there's a pregnant girl working at the coffee shop I usually go to. I paid her $600 to pee on a pregnancy stick. I knew this was the only way I was going to get him to marry me. I show up to my boyfriend's house, but guess who's there? He's with his ex-girlfriend sitting on the couch watching a movie. That's when I willed myself to cry and I show him the pregnancy test. Part 2 is up. So I show my ex the fake pregnancy test so that he can marry me. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. Mind you, his ex is sitting on the couch waiting for him to come back so that they can finish watching their stupid movie. And when he saw that the test was positive, he started to cry. I told him that we had to talk, and he told his ex to leave. Then he tells his parents to come into the room, and his mom also started to cry when she saw the pregnancy test. I couldn't really tell if they were happy tears or if they were like, oh no tears. That's when I told him that I fully expected him to ask me to marry him. I even told him that I was 2 months along so we could start planning the wedding. That's when he told his parents that I was right. Then he asked me to marry him. I knew that I got what I wanted, but I had no idea how I was going to fake this pregnancy. A few days later, he moved back into our apartment. He started painting the guest room so that it could be the nursery. But here's the worst part. A month later, I was still not able to get pregnant. I didn't know what to do, so I started eating a lot of food to fake the pregnancy bump. I would eat McDonald's for breakfast and Taco Bell for dinner. Part 3 is up.
My nail horror story, and oh my goodness, it hurt. It was a late January night, and I was frantically typing on my computer when I hear a bang. I quickly run down to my dark and quiet basement to check the dryer. I swiped the door. Bang! Hit the handle and missed. Ouch! An excruciating pain followed. I looked at my hands in absolute horror to see 2 nails missing. Later, I found them on the floor. 4 months to grow them back. Beware of dryers.
In order to fake the pregnancy, I had to gain weight. So I started eating tons of food. I would have pizza every other day, I ate 2 pints of ice cream a day, and every time I passed by a fast food place, I would pick up something to eat. I was gaining a little bit of weight, so people believed me when I said I was pregnant. Finally, the wedding came around. I was so relieved once we were married because I knew I had to eventually go to the doctor. And I had decided that once the doctor said that I wasn't pregnant, I would put on a show and pretend that I just lost the baby. Well, when it finally happened, my husband straight up asked me if I made it all up. And I told him yes. It literally took him 1 hour to move out of the apartment. He went straight to get a restraining order, and my parents sent me to a psychiatrist. But you see, we're still married. He hasn't filed for divorce, so I think I should reach out to him. I know he and I will end up together. What do you guys think?
Part 2.
That was a fair, and I'm still hooking up with him.
Part 2 about how this guy used me to get with my best friend. Like I said, they started dating. The boy that I was talking to at the pool, we're gonna call him Luke. Well, Luke's best friend was dating my best friend. Fast forward 2 months, Luke's saying how he wants to date me and stuff like that, but it's not the right time. And every time that I would ask Luke to hang out, he would only hang out if my best friend was there. Red motherfucking flag alert, bitch. Anyways, I didn't see that red flag. So Luke and his best friend go to this party. And apparently I was told that there was this girl there that was really hot. And Luke was saying to his best friend, oh, you should hook up with her. She's totally into you. Your girlfriend won't find out because she doesn't even know any of the people at this party. So he hooks up with the girl there. Then Luke calls me and says, OMG, like he cheated on your best friend. So I immediately call my best friend to tell her. And because she likes to talk to Luke about all her problems, she calls him. So he goes over there to comfort her. I didn't hear anything from them till a week after. My best friend posted him on her story and goes, my new boo.
This is why it's better to have one friend that you hang out with regularly instead of having a big group of friends. And trust me, you're going to want to listen to this story time. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I was kind of going through an identity crisis, and low-key still am. I went to a predominantly white school for the majority of my life. So let's just say I was extremely whitewashed. It was one of those times in my life where if a white person said the N-word around me, I would just laugh. Not because I didn't know it was wrong, but because I wanted to be accepted and I wanted to be like everybody else, and I seeked validation. Sophomore year was really when I started to become who I am today. I wanted to learn way more about my culture and my background. So I started becoming friends with people from other schools that are more diverse. Eventually, I met this group of girls. And I thought these girls were going to be the sweetest girls I would ever meet. Now, this friend group was serving flavor. I'm talking diverse to the T. One night, we decided that we were going to spend the night at one of the girls' houses. Let's call this girl Sally. I kept getting lost on the way to Sally's house, and I thought it was because I didn't know the area that well. Keep in mind, that's what I thought was the reason. I get there and we watch like 4 or 5 movies before I end up falling asleep. And when I wake up, I was in a room full of grown-ass men staring at me. Part 3 of why you should have one loyal friend instead of hanging out with a big group of friends. So I go into the bathroom and there's a window. I'm thinking to myself, I would be so dumb. I would be so extremely incredibly stupid to go back into that room full of grown-ass men that I've never met before, instead of making my escape through that window right here, right now. So I trusted my gut and I got the fuck out of there. Mind you, I'm in my PJs right now. No shoes, no socks. I'm making my great escape. Call me Pablo Escobar. While I was doing all of it, I was in disbelief. Like, I cannot believe that I'm escaping, like, right now. Like, this is actually insane. Like, I did what I believed was right at the moment. And honestly, that decision might be the reason why I'm alive right now. So I make a run for it. I immediately run to the front of the neighborhood. I hide behind some trees and then I call my sister. I call my sister instead of my parents because my mom was the one who drove me there. And if she knew that something bad happened, she wouldn't have let me go out again. I'm frantically explaining everything on the phone to my sister. She literally speeds to come get me. When she gets there, I immediately hop in her car and we get the fuck out of there. On our way home, I get a text from Sally. Last part is part 4. I'm making that right now.
This story time is why I stopped being friends with the girl because her dad was a pervert. And we're calling her Kim. So me and Kim became friends at school. Over time, we realized we lived close together. So she started coming over to my house and I started going over to hers. She had 5 brothers and she was the only girl. Whenever I'd come over to her house, I'd say hello to everyone, but her dad was always excited to see me. He'd immediately run and give me a hug. Over the past couple months, he'd give me a hug and a kiss on the cheek. He said that I was his new little girl. I felt uncomfortable with it, but I went and told my friend Kim, and she said, he's just glad you're here, and you're like family now. I was like, okay, I guess, and I would just ignore it. Thanksgiving come up, and I went over to her house for a plate. Her dad opened up the door and gave me a hug and a kiss as usual. I walked in the house, and he said, you need to eat to keep that booty plump. I laughed in nervousness, and he slapped and squeezed my butt. There's more that happened after this. Let me know if you guys want a part 2.
My mom spanked my bully. Story time. When I was in 3rd grade, I used to hate going to the bus stop because there was a boy there who would bully me. And it got so bad that some days I would go home crying. I felt like I couldn't do anything because he was much older than I was. So of course I told my mom and she called the school and they did nothing about it. So then my mom somehow found out who his parents were and she went to go talk to them. And all they said about it was boys will be boys. There's really nothing we can do about it. And then that's when my mom was like, if y'all don't handle it, I will. So the next morning she told me to go to the bus stop and if my bully bothered me to come back home and tell her. So I went to the bus stop and of course he bothered me. So I went back home.
Hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. It does help support us and lets know what videos you guys want to see.